You have reached the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast voicemail. If you want to leave some feedback about Toyotas, have questions about Toyotas, maybe poke some fun at Toyotas, or let us know how your JL came with a Starbucks membership, then leave it all on the line and we'll get to it on the podcast. Keep crawling.
Hey everybody, welcome to SnailMail. This is kind of the after hours of the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast, where we get to sit back and listen to some fun voicemails and listener feedback and comment on it and argue with listeners and tell you guys how much you're wrong and we're right.
Which is not very often.
Not very often.
Yeah. Let's be honest here.
That's true. Oh, man. So, we have, God, in the queue, I think we have like 18 voicemails here. There was like 5 that came in just yesterday.
Right? Yeah. We tried to get through a bunch last snail mail, and you got more people called in.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we're going to do kind of a lightning round today. We're going to sit down. We're going to hopefully have a 20 to 30 minute episode for you guys. We'll see how many voicemails we get through.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's see the first one here where we started off. It looks like it's from Lance, not the company.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what Lance has to say.
Hey, Tyler and Jimmy. It's Lance, not the company. I was calling because I was just listening to this latest episode, and you were talking about etiquette, like trail etiquette and camping etiquette and things like that. And, not parking next to certain Jeeps, which I absolutely agree with. Why ruin the look of that gorgeous 4Runner with the goofy look of the Jeep? I could never understand why anybody would want to do. Anyway, but I was thinking about it, and I was wondering if maybe you guys could talk about some of that etiquette at some point. Just kind of put it out there so that everybody understands what is expected and what should be done and what shouldn't be done, things like that. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, 6 out of 5 stars every time. You guys be safe. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in, Lance, not the company. That's a good point. We have not done a trail etiquette episode in a while. I'm looking back.
I don't know how to spell it. I was trying to look it up. I don't know how to spell etiquette.
Yeah. Etiquette. I want to say it was like in the first 10 episodes.
I found how to spell it. That's all. I didn't find a year in review. The one thing I dislike about Google Podcast is you can't search just a podcast topics.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you everything.
Yeah. Episode 12, 10 pieces of off-road etiquette.
Okay. That was a little while ago.
So, yep. Episode 12. I don't know if we've done a complete episode dedicated to off-road trail etiquette. Since then,
wow,
might be a good time to revisit that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Update it for post-COVID.
Absolutely. I think that's, right. Exactly. I do know I did a video on it a long time ago as well.
Yep.
And I think that's sort of where we spun this idea off of, in an addition there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that would be a good topic for us to cover again, for sure. There's hundreds of different types of etiquette depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Because there's etiquette of like gates and opening or shutting a gate depending on the situation that comes through. But, we don't have concern about that here in California, but people over in like the Midwest, when they actually go over public or private land,
property,
there's an etiquette around those things. So there's tons of stuff to cover, and we definitely could do that. Something I was thinking about was once we hit 500, we should just start over.
Start at 1?
Well, yeah.
Or just episodes?
Whatever we did on episode 0.
Yeah.
That's what we should do for 500. And whatever we did for episode 1, that's what we should do for episode 1.
We'll get all our interviewers back on.
Yeah.
5 years later. How
episode
are you doing,
10. Hey,
Dirthead Dave.
Dave, what's happening?
That would be kind of fun to do.
Yeah. So maybe at 512, we'll do an etiquette episode.
That would be... that's 3 months away.
Yeah,
2
it's
months
a little
away.
far.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it before then.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one come out before the summer wheeling season starts.
That's a good idea.
So
yeah, we'll do that here in the transition time when winter's ending and spring is happening. And
Jimmy and I are transitioning.
That too.
Yep.
So we'll do it. Thanks, Lance the camper.
Yep. Next one looks like it's from Ben.
Oh, Ben.
Ben from Dover. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Tyler. It's Ben from Dover. You forgot about Unimogs.
You notice how he didn't say and Jimmy.
Yeah. I didn't forget about him.
You didn't forget about him?
No.
Apparently he forgot about you, though.
Yeah, he did.
Ben's a dick, though.
He doesn't like me.
Yeah. I'm guessing this was in reference to our favorite vehicles to see on the trail, least favorite vehicles to see on the trail, favorite vehicles to camp next to, least not next to camp to, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know where Unimogs would fall in that category. Best vehicle off-roading quality or least likely you see.
Yeah, right?
One of those.
I've only ever seen one in the wild on a trail.
And it had a poop tank on the back?
No, I have not seen that one driving on the trail before. I've seen it parked at the property on the trail.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it actually driving. The only one I've ever seen actually driving, which I don't know if you can really call it a Unimog anymore, is Joe from Carnage Welder.
Out on Metal Masher?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a good photo of me up on its tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the only one I've really seen. I mean, we have our Unimog buddy with the red Unimog.
Yeah,
up
Ron
in this
Tuttle.
area, Mr. Tuttle. And I've seen his Unimog in person before.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever seen it driving down a trail.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen it parked.
Yeah.
And camping.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I don't. So I would say they're the least likely.
Yeah.
I did have some other feedback on that one, which there is the VW van that is 4-wheel drive.
Oh, the Vanagons?
Synchros or something like that. And those would be a good camping rig.
Yes.
But I just still think a Sprinter is better.
I would agree. A Sprinter is the new age synchro, is what it comes down to. Yeah.
Those things are badass, though.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a Doka, which is like the 4-door extra cab version of it.
Yeah.
So it's a VW van, but it has two rows of seats. And then it's a truck bed.
Interesting.
And then you put like a rooftop tent on it. I think that'd be so cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the Unimogs from Ben from Dover. Let's see. Next one is Jordan. I almost said Taylor, but I think he's calling me Taylor. Jordan from Vegas. Let's see what Jordan has to say.
Hey, Taylor. Hey, Jimmy. This is Jordan from out here from Vegas. And I was listening to your recent episode about your favorite off-road vehicles. And when you got to your favorite camping vehicles, there was an obvious one that I feel like you guys missed as possibly the greatest camping off-road vehicle. And that would be the 4x4 Toyota minivan.
Okay.
Or I think it's also called the Town Ace, but they're unkillable. They've got 4-wheel drive, actual 4-wheel drive, if I remember correctly, high and low. And sorry about the airplane. It's trying to take off over my head. But, man, being Toyota guys, I thought you had that one in the bag. Also, got tips for the home mechanic. Been sitting on my mind for like a month. Anyways, don't plug a electrical tool into an extension cord that's thinner than the cord of the tool. It might not catch fire, but it might. Not a good idea. Anyways, thanks. Keep crawling.
That was a great call.
That's awesome, Jordan. Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about the VW buses. And,
literally.
Yeah. And the high ace,
the high ace,
Town Ace.
Van,
there's a low ace, I believe, too. That are all 4-wheel drive vans. Are really cool.
With high and low gear too?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if all three of those had a high and low gear or if they just had a 4-wheel drive option.
Gotcha.
But yeah, one of them, I forgot, I think it was the high ace, had captain chairs in the second row.
Ooh, okay.
Also, and then the front chairs would turn 180 degrees around so that you could sit like
four people
at a table.
Have a poker table in there?
Yeah. That was
strip
pretty
poker
neat.
in your high ace?
Yep.
Strip Uno.
Strip Uno.
Strip Uno in the high ace.
That's always a fun game.
Yeah.
Wait, those are great.
I always seem to lose that game. Oh, darn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I lose because you lost.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody else loses once I lose.
Yeah. All right. Game's over. Bye. But actually, excellent suggestion in regards to the home mechanic, shade tree mechanic there. Yeah. Look at the extension cord size, the diameter of the extension cord compared to the diameter of the cord coming out of your power tool.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be larger, hopefully, if not the same size, never smaller.
Yes. And keep in mind also That's a good way to tell, but then also keep in mind that a lot of extension cords for home stuff is 3-wire extension cords, whereas some of your power tools are going to be 2-wire.
Okay.
So the home extension cord might be thicker overall in diameter than your tool extension cord because it has a 3rd wire running through it, and it's not actually thicker wiring in there.
Absolutely.
So another thing to kind of keep in mind.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling in, Jordan.
Yep, that was a good one. Next up, looks like Joe. Joe's been listening.
Did you hear him talk about Unimogs?
Maybe. Let's see what we got here.
Hey guys, listener Joe here. Been listening since the High Sierra days.
Wow.
So really enjoy the show. Anyway, I just listened to episode 470 and I'm a buggy guy. I bought a full chassis and built my own buggy in the garage. And in my opinion, your reasons for buggies being so capable was way off, period. I'm not saying your points were completely wrong, but they're not what makes buggies the best performers. It's all about suspension, placement, where the axles are, wheelbase. In a buggy, you're not limited like on a full body car where you can mount your shocks, your links, things like that. That's what makes buggies perform so well. Things like having the front axle in front of the engine, so your weight balance is a lot better. Essentially, good buggies are mid-engine cars because the engines are between the axles. So those are the kind of things that make buggies perform so much better, is suspension geometry and so forth. But I do believe you are 100% right that buggies are the worst for camping. Have a great day.
Nice.
Yeah. Lance life in that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, excellent points. I guess we don't really have buggies.
Yep.
To some extent, you kind of do.
Kind of underneath my frame is pretty much all buggy stuff.
Kind of.
But
yeah.
I mean,
But you are still limited by a full body.
Totally. And I think we mentioned that, you know, you're with buggies, your body dimensions are so much lower. So you can put it in more interesting places without damaging stuff. And that also goes to packaging stuff as well, too. When you're not limited by a body, your packaging is so much more open, a lot more options for it.
Apabsolutely.
So,
but those are great points. I mean, I never thought about in regards to the engine, you know, being back. I always assume that you want the wheels as far forward, so you have great approach angle, but you don't. I've never put 1 and 2 together that makes your engine be farther backwards, so the weight is a little bit more centered in the vehicle to some extent.
Yeah,
some of those things are just lost on me because it's just not a realm that I'm in.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense, right? If your engine is out in front of your axle is typically your leverage point. For cantilevering the entire vehicle, right?
Right.
So if your weight is beyond that leverage point, then it creates a worse weight distribution for when you're leveraging the vehicle in different scenarios.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Not something I had thought of.
That's why they don't roll over when they drop off cliffs in some of these competitions.
Yep.
Or backdoor.
Yep. Cool. I think Hussman might disagree about the camping and buggies. But
maybe
with his beach umbrella and his hammock and everything else he has set up with his buggy.
That guy's chill enough though that he just sleeps in his buggy.
That's true. His chairs are comfy enough to do that though.
I don't have room to pack a tent, so I just sleep in the buggy.
Yeah, put a tarp over the buggy and that's your tent. Yeah, his Gazelle has wheels. All right, so next one. It says transcript not available. So I don't know who this is, or even if it's a voicemail, we may cut this out.
Yeah. Auto insurance.
Here, talk about your extended car warranty.
I don't know why everybody gets it so wrong. Detroit lockers have dog clutches, which are like the teeth in a ratchet, like a snap-on ratchet. They're not split clutches. They disengage. And a Detroit locker, whether you're going forwards or backwards, will not let either axle shaft rotate slower than the carrier or the ring gear. But to go around a corner, they can disengage and spin faster than the carrier or the ring gear. So the problem problem that people get into is when you're accelerating around a corner, the outside wheel has to spin faster, but the inside wheel is not allowed to spin slower. So when you apply a lot of power, that power for torque, tries to spin the inside rear wheel as fast as the outside rear wheel. And the same is true in reverse. So when you're engine braking and going around a corner, it just works the opposite direction. The only way to really get it to float is to apply neutral torque. And then both wheels can kind of do their own thing, but they will bounce off the teeth of those clutches and make noises. Lunchbox lockers of all kinds that use dog clutches all work on the same principle. And as a former first-gen 4Runner owner that now has a Jeep JKU, a Jeep JKU is just the ultimate solid axle 4Runner that I could never afford to build back in the day. What does everybody do to a solid axle 4Runner? They fix the steering, they fix the suspension, they add lockers, and they put some sort of more powerful motor in them and add a low range reduction. Thanks.
I agree. So I think that the debate on Detroit's continues.
Yes.
So what I want to know is I think everybody that's called in about Detroit's and everybody that we've talked to about Detroit's, everybody agrees on how they function, right? Or what the resulting functionality is of them.
Okay.
I want to know, what is the mechanism that drives the teeth to engage and disengage?
Got it. Okay.
Is it spring loaded? Is it torsion style, like a ratcheting locker, a torsion locker, or what? Like, what is the mechanism that makes those teeth engage and disengage? Because I'm looking at my broken ARB over here, and it's similar. It's got the dog teeth set up that engage with each other when the locker engages. There's a locking ring that comes up and essentially locks your spider gears, quote unquote, inside the locker together so that the axle shafts turn at the same rate of the carrier.
Got it. Yeah.
What is the mechanism
what is it inside
in a Detroit that makes the teeth engage and disengage? That's what I want to know.
Okay. I don't have that answer.
We may have to go to West Coast diffs and be like, can you just please give us a Detroit locker to tear apart real quick?
Yeah. And then let us talk with your pieces back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm great at taking things apart.
Yes. So,
okay.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I think we've covered the fact that it's the power more or less from the drive shaft, and roughly speaking, in the pinion to the ring gear that causes whatever that mechanism is that you want to know to engage or disengage from the axles.
Correct.
Shafts.
Yep.
So, okay. So what is it inside? Is it a clutch pack? Is it a torsion bar? Is it a spring? How does it know when to engage, or how does it get the engagement?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I want to know.
All right.
So
continue the
Detroit debate.
Discussion. We had no affiliation to Detroit, but we've continued this on long enough. Maybe
funny.
we'll just call Detroit.
Yeah. Get Detroit on the phone. We'll get somebody from them. That's funny. All right. So, and then on to his comment about JKUs. I'd say it's the ultimate rock crawling SUV from the factory.
Yeah. From factory.
I would agree.
Yeah. I also liked his comment. It's pretty much it's the 4Runner that he wished he could have built.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So which really is saying he wish he still had the 4Runner. But he had to sacrifice and just get a Jeep.
So what I'm curious about is if he had still had his 4Runner, would it be cheaper to go out and spend $20,000 to $30,000 on a JKU, or used one, or spend $60,000 to $70,000 on a new one, or build up the 4Runner?
Yep.
And because it sounds to me like, from what he said, that price was his biggest indicator, right?
Yeah.
It was the one that he couldn't afford to build. And if that tells me that if he could have afforded to build it and price wasn't an issue, he would have just stuck with the 4Runner.
Correct.
So I'm curious if he would have really been out more or less on money wise.
Credit card wheeling.
Yep. A firm wheeling.
A firm wheeling. Yes. All right. One more.
All right. One more.
All right.
Jack
Kerouac.
Jack Caraway. Let's see what he has to say here. Something about gooses.
Good morning, Jimmy and Tyler. This is Zach. And
Zach.
it sounds like y'all are talking about the Untitled Goose Game.
Yes, it is.
Not the unimportant or whatever you said Goose Game. It's actually a really fun game and I love it. I've platinumed it already on PlayStation. It's a good, relaxing game when you play games like Bloodborne, some of the Souls games and stuff, some RPGs that might make you throw your remote at the TV. But yeah, no, Untitled Goose Game is great. I love it. It's amazing. All right. Have a good Saturday, y'all.
So that was Zach from Oklahoma.
Zach from Oklahoma.
I need to save his number. He's calling enough times now, so I'm gonna save this.
The Untitled Goose Game.
What is that?
That was the game that the mini assistant was playing when she had her friend over, that they would run around and bother civilian or people. Like, you're a goose and you run around this town and you purposely cause havoc. Like, you steal people's sunglasses or glasses and steal things from stores, and you take a boy's ball and you put it in the store, and then he has to go and buy his own ball back. You know, it's just this silly little game, but it's absolutely comical.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. It's super cool. All right. I want to know, I did say that was the last one, but did Zach call back in regards to his heater core not working right?
Okay. So now I have his number saved. Let's see if his name pops up in this list. Negative.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. That was the last one then. Cause if he called back, I wanted to play that one.
Okay.
To see what. But yeah, so Zach, let us know if we've solved your heater core problems.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know what's going on with that. So, well, cool. That does it for the snail mail for this week. We'll get into some more. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do if we end up receiving more voicemails per week than time we want to put into doing these.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have. That means you guys are calling in and we love interacting and listening and chatting with you guys, but we'll see. So don't get too upset if you're like, hey, you guys never played my voicemail. We're going to do our best to get through them all, but there's a lot coming in. So yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. We were talking a little earlier and trying to figure out logistics behind some of this. And I think we're just going to kind of do a few lightning rounds and try to catch up as best we can. But if you guys keep calling in, then, we'll just keep doing this.
We'll just keep doing it. And we'll have a backlog of voicemails, and they may not be as super relevant, but I mean, most of these were about the camping or the preference, vehicle preference one.
Favorite
which was,
and least favorite vehicles.
470, I think. Correct. So we're at 477. So not too bad.
Yeah. I guess that's a good question to ask you guys, and you feel free to call in and answer the question.
Yeah.
If we are backlogged and we're only referencing episodes that were, 2 or 3 weeks behind or maybe more, is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
Is it not? If they're still in our brain and we could still talk about them, right. Does it matter if someone calls in about episode 12 and trail etiquette?
Yeah.
Call us. Let us know what you think. 916-345-4744.
Cool. That does it. And that does it for Snail Mail. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you on Monday. Peace.
The number you have called has been disconnected.